Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming. And with the knowledge of a new Hercules world, a Tangled world, and a Big Hero 6 world, excitement is in the air. This is leading many people to speculate on what worlds will be added in the final chapter of the Xehanort Saga. Instead of telling you what worlds I think will be added in Kingdom Hearts 3, I want to talk about 10 worlds I want in Kingdom Hearts 3. I can tell some of you are already raising your keyblades and about to use a fire gust spell in the comments, but instead, why not tell me what you think of my ideas, or tell me yours? Without further ado, let's begin. Before I begin, yes, I know Big Hero 6 began as a Marvel property and was remade by Disney. In the year 2009, Disney bought the comic book company Marvel, and in 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilms, the company behind Star Wars. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of Kingdom Hearts having either Marvel or Star Wars featured in the franchise, and in a way, I kind of agree. But before we blindly bash the idea, we should at least give it a chance, and if it doesn't work, we could at least say we tried. Personally, I'm a little indifferent on the subject. I don't think we need either Marvel or Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts 3, but I wouldn't mind if it got in. I also feel like it's a bad time for both to be introduced, as Kingdom Hearts 3 is the last game in the Xehanort Saga, and they should introduce them in the next saga. We should at least see what they do with either of the two before we jump to big conclusions. Like I said, we don't need it, but I wouldn't mind if we got it either. In case you didn't know, I love obscure content. I love how Mr. Game & Watch, Rob, and Duck Hunt are all characters in Smash, but I personally feel like we need the Mr. Game & Watch of Kingdom Hearts, something that even predates Mickey Mouse, and that something is 1923's Alice's Wonderland, a black and white laugh-o-gram about a girl named Alice who meets Walt Disney, as he takes her to one of his creations, Cartoonland. You see, this is not Timeless River, but instead Cartoonland. It would introduce Disney's first creation to even some of the biggest fans that didn't even know it existed, and it'd be great for some of the people who love obscure content. Originally was supposed to be a full world in 2010's Birth by Sleep, but was scrapped near completion. My theory is that they wanted Sora to meet the Jungle Book cast, and since Birth by Sleep takes place 10 years before Sora's adventure, it would have been impossible to bring the world back for Sora. Now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is in production, we may finally see the premiere of the Jungle Book. But then again, why didn't they bring it back in Dream Drop Distance? That would have been a good time for Sora, whatever, let's just move on. I was going to put Tim Burton's newly announced film, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, but since that film just was announced, I think it might be too new to add to Kingdom Hearts 3. It's almost all but confirmed that Halloweentown will not return for Kingdom Hearts 3, but I feel like we need some sort of horror-like world for Kingdom Hearts. So why not Tim Burton's other film, Frankenweenie? It's clever, unique, and everybody loves Frankenweenie. That, and I love Tim Burton's design. It's not a horror movie for those who thought I made that statement because I said horror-like world. But that's only because Tim Burton's work has a creepy design that aren't used for horror scenarios. If Jack Skellington can't return, then we can at least have the lovable undead dog. You guys remember Warner Brothers' Merry Melodies, right? Well, did you know that Disney originally had their own version called Silly Symphonies? Like I said, I love obscure content, and these cartoons came around the time of Mickey Mouse's creation. It could be like the Fantasia world, where we could visit multiple skits all in the same world and story. But I feel like it would be awkward if they had both Silly Symphonies and Cartoonland in the same game, so we'd have to pick between the two, and have the other come in a later installment. Whichever comes first, I'd be okay with. Some people say Wreckit Ralph wouldn't work simply because Sora would realize he's a video game character. Well then in that case, I guess he should have realized he's a program, or a lion his entire life. In other words, it's kind of a stupid argument. No offense. But I don't think Wreckit Ralph should have a planet-like world, but instead something like 100 Wood Acres or Space Paranoids. Like, how about an arcade just got built into Twilight Town and Sora and the gang got sucked into something like Fix-It Felix or Hero's Duty? All I have to say is, we better have Fix-It Felix, Hero's Duty, Sugar Rush, and Video Game Central included in this world. I've heard so many people say, oh, just put Sugar Rush in there. But that would limit the world altogether, and so much for the story. Also, no, wouldn't get any of the cameo appearances. Why do people think that anyway? Sonic and Ryu and all the other cameo appearances can't appear in the Wreck-It Ralph world. They're owned by different companies, and I don't think they'd go straight to these companies just to add these characters for a single cameo appearance in a single world that people are mainly going to visit for 30 minutes. The only cameo I'd say that would work is Q*bert, because he actually does something with the story, but even his chances are like a 1 out of 10.
But when I finally appear, it's crystal clear that now
Oh, Bobby. Oh, Bobby. Hey! You get your own movie.
This one's a little complicated. At the end of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, spoilers, we saw Stitch go into an Earth-like planet, but in Kingdom Hearts 2, we saw him in Hello Bastion / Radiant Garden. So does that mean the events of Lilo and Stitch already happened before Kingdom Hearts 1 even started? Does that mean we can't get a Lilo and Stitch Hawaii world? The relationship between Lilo and Stitch, the Wayfinder, are we just gonna ignore that? I'd risk a broken story just to include that Hawaii setting. Besides, it wouldn't really do that much anyway, to break the story just to include a Hawaii world, even though technically, whatever. You can say whatever you want about Frozen. In my opinion, it is not an overrated film, and it rightfully deserves its spot in Kingdom Hearts 3. Even if you don't like the movie, or you're just a hipster, you have to admit we need some sort of ice world in Kingdom Hearts. Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, or even Final Fantasy have ice worlds, and considering Kingdom Hearts is about going to other unique worlds, it feels odd that we don't have an ice-based world. And since we are in the 8th generation of gaming, the world would just look beautiful too.
so cute. It's like a little baby unicorn.
In a leak about Kingdom Hearts 2.9, it also mentioned meetings with Disney and Pixar, and since Kingdom Hearts 2.9 is already announced as Kingdom Hearts 2.8 HD Remix, the final chapter prologue, that all but confirms the leak. But of all Pixar films to be included in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'd say it has to be Toy Story. It's like the Mario of Pixar. It should be like a crime not to add the first Pixar film into Kingdom Hearts 3. Toy Story was supposed to be in Kingdom Hearts 1, but because of right disputes going from 2000 to 2006 between Pixar and Disney, it couldn't be added. But afterwards, Tetsuya Nomura wanted to add a summon based on Buzz Lightyear and Woody in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. But to add content from Pixar, you have to actually go to them. But with this leak and the 2.8 announcement, it makes it all the more likely. And finally, we can get Pixar and Kingdom Hearts. Fuck!
Could it be?
You know what would be meta? If Sora came into something resembling our world, or an iconic part of Disney history from our world. Being Disneyland, being something like, I don't know, the center of the universe. Just remove the guests and the people in costumes and replace them with Heartless and it would be perfect. In fact, I have a theory that since the center of Disneyland is the replica of Cinderella's castle, when Aqua walked in the realm of darkness and saw the castle covered in darkness, that wasn't Cinderella's castle, but the center of Disneyland. And when Sora goes to this world and finally meets Aqua, he would have to walk through the dark, decrepit version of the amusement park. Seeing the happiest place on Earth covered in Heartless would be kinda epic in my opinion.